Here we go, the Golf Swing, the weekly fix. Welcome to another show. My name is Mark Crossfield. We're going to talk a bit about stability in the golf swing today. We've got some swings sent to me through the app where people are swaying around with their hips, not getting the stability they need to create on playing good quality golf shots. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about putting. Guys sent me a putting video through the app, which is a great idea, great way of using it. I'm going to show you a few drills that I've used growing up through my life that's really helped me understand how to control the putter head and get the putter moving in a way to try and hold more putts. Let's get out there, let's get stuck in. Right guys, stability in the golf swing. We're seeing from all these swings here that lots of hip sway, right knee moving out, some over rotation in the hips coming from that as well. Also you start getting poor spine angles in a couple of them as well. So if you're not turning your body correctly on the backswing, it's going to make it very hard for you to get a good quality of strike. It's going to make it very hard for you to stay on playing with your golf swing and hit these straight, consistent shots that you want. And consistency is the real word here. Very hard to get consistency if too many moving parts are put into practice. So look, for most of my lessons that I do that suffer from this problem, first thing I try to get them to do, first kind of drill I get them to do, if you like, is just simply try and hit a few shots. And they hit a backswing. I want them to make a shot where they, on their backswing, they feel like they don't move their knees at all. So first thing is see how far they can turn while not turning their lower body at all. Just to see how much stretch they've got, how much ability they've got to control the lower half. This is a great way for you guys to hit a few shots to start, just to get a feel for what's going on. So hit a few shots, trying to hit the ball medium pace, but trying to get a fullish distance. So not just a pitch shot, you're going to try and do a full swing as you can while keeping your knees still on the backswing, and then still fire them on the downswing. Now often, that's enough for my students. That actually gets them using their hips the right amount. So them feeling that they're not using their hips at all, that stops the swaying over to the right knee bending out, the over rotation of hips. It stops the lower half being unstable. It stables it. It kind of clamps it down. But what that does, it shows them, and it might show you if you practice this, how much control or lack of control you have of your lower half. Because if you are making a swing where you feel like your lower half doesn't move at all, and it does, it shows you how out of sync you are with your hips. Most people will sway, so hips move to the right, weight moves over onto the outside of the right foot on the backswing, so the transfer of weight is more lateral as they then rotate. Those people often don't know they're doing it. So when you get them to make a swing where they don't move their hips at all in their mind, they feel like they're not doing anything, but what they're actually doing is just coiling up against the right inside of their right leg. Now coiling up against the inside of your right leg creates a much better downswing, so a much better weight shift. It's much easier to push your weight across if the weight is set on the inside of your right foot at the top of your backswing. Those of you out there swaying your hips across and turning, if I try and start a downswing with my weight on the outside of my right foot, which it is here, I've got to roll the weight back to the inside of my foot before I start to push. At this time the club's almost hitting the ball. Heavy shots because I'm late in getting my weight coming across can happen with that kind of fault. That's a great way to start. Get some backswings happening where you don't move your hips at all. Feel like you don't move them at all. Next thing you can do, just to fine tune it, set yourself up. Now you've got to make sure the weight's on the inside of your right foot at setup. To do this, make sure the right knee points inside of the right foot and the right hip is lined up with the inside of the right foot. That'll make you feel that you're bracing the lower right side up. So when you do your backswing, you want to turn into that brace. Don't let that brace go. Don't let the knee move. Turn into that knee and then push off. That's a great way of feeling what's happening down your right side. Put that brace, that's like kicking with the right knee up there at the start, and turn against it. The problems you'll find, and it can be endless, there's loads of problems with people who sway, don't get the coil that they need, the stability that they need in the lower half to gain the coil in the upper half, is it affects on many levels. So common faults that I see, people who sway, they tend to hit down and across the ball quite a lot, so it actually changes their club path by being more lateral with their weight shift rather than rotational. The other problems I see as they turn onto their right side, right shift the right side shifts across, and then they over-rotate their hips. So that then starts getting the club across the line at the top. That can cause too far inside attacks and the old early extensions, but quite simply also can cause you to kind of recorrect that and come over the top. Again, they're coming down and across the ball. So it affects your quality of strike, it'll affect your distance, and it'll certainly affect your swing plane if your lower half isn't stable. If you think about hitting shots, if you wanted to create power, you've got to have a coil, you've got to have some resistance. So if I take this tee, for instance, and I want to create energy in this tee, what I'm going to do is hold the bottom and turn the top. So my upper half is turning against this lower half, and then if I let that go, it springs back to its original position. For you guys, often you're turning everything moving at once, or you're even just turning laterally, which is so much weaker than this kind of coiled up energy that you want to then release onto the ball. You guys want to get the right distance, right direction on shots. You've got to start thinking about getting real stability in your lower half. And 90% of golfers I see, they over-rotate the lower half. So really feel that you're keeping your knees pretty still on the backswing. Turn against this brace right side, and then twisting up onto your left side. So it's almost that you turn your lower half off for the backswing as you turn your shoulders, and then turn your lower half on for the downswing. So putting, let's talk about putting. You can see the video here sent through the app. Certainly holding on to the putt on the way through, so as he comes through he hits and holds onto the ball very much round to the left. I'm going to show you a few drills that I used growing up. Used to do these loads. Putting was always one of my strongest points of my game, and it was one of the parts I always enjoyed the most. Let's show you how to get your putting really home, to get a feel for your strokes. You can start holding some more putts. Let's get stuck in. So putting practice. Look, putting practice is something you need to be keeping on top of day in, day out. It's about feel and control, and if you want to heighten these feelings and this control of the putt ahead, this isn't something you can dial into once a month, or every 2 months I'll have a quick putt, or I'll have a quick putt before I go out and play. This is something you need to be practicing on your carpets at home, out on the putting green if you're lucky enough to get out there, 3 times a week, 5 times a week if you can, 10 minutes. The beauty with putting is you can practice for 10 minutes and you feel like you've achieved something, where hitting shots, 10 minutes isn't going to feel like you've done much, you've barely warmed up. The better practice, the better putters that I've ever known, they loved practicing putting, they enjoyed doing it. So if you're someone out there who doesn't enjoy practicing putting, then it's probably going to be one of your weaker parts of your game. You've got to try and find a way to enjoy your practice. Now, a good way to practice, if you find that time, is to start referencing your putter, so this end, toe end, to a straight line. You need to be putting up along something straight. A wall, a skirting board, a club, many of the teaching aids that are available that offer straight lines. Even if you're someone who wants to swing the putter into square to in, you should still be referencing this curve to a straight line. So how much in are you of that straight line back towards it and into it on the way through to make that curve even. Someone like me who likes to swing more straight back, straight through, I don't like such a big curve on my putting stroke, the straight line works perfectly. So what you want to do, get yourself, you don't need a hole, you don't even need a ball for this. Just get yourself positioned up against a straight line, so a wall, or for my instance here, I've got one of our measuring tools we use for custom fitting putters, and just practice your stroke back and through against this straight line. See how good you are at moving that putter back and through. You'll be shocked how wobbly this putter is, and the only way to get more consistent and making this putter straighter back, straighter through is to practice it day in, day out. Build up that feel of where your hands need to go, where that putter needs to go, how relaxed you need to be, or even how tense you need to be to make that putter head move up and down this line. Don't get bogged down in too much technique and overthinking about it. You just want to see how skilled you are at feeling the tip end of this putter along a straight line. The same way as you would be as if you're parking your car. The only way you can parallel park your car into a spot is if you are confident that you know the width of your car, so the length, of your car. If you know the length, where the back end is, and you can't see it, you feel it, it's easier to parallel park that car. If you jump into someone else's car who's much longer, parallel parking that car now becomes more hard because you don't know where the end of that car is, you can't feel it because you're not doing it day in, day out. With putting, you need to feel where the tip end of that club is, moving in relationship to this straight line. It's the same kind of feel, building that up through practice. Get along some straight lines. If you want to think technically about it, keep your knees nice and still as you do this, as still as you possibly can. The guy who sent me the video, you can see just on the left knee, he's only just in the clip, but you can see his left knee pulls back a little bit as he comes through. That rotation is what pulls the club off that line. So the more stable you can keep your body, certainly your lower half, while you try and rock this putter back and forwards, the better you'll get. You don't need to reference it to a target, you don't need to reference it to a ball, you just need to reference it to a straight line. Then what you do when you get on the course is you try and hit each putt along this imaginary straight line in your mind. As long as you are aiming up on the right lie and judging the break of the green, which is a different story, then you're going to hit the putt or start the putt where you intend to, rather than pulling it or push it through a bad stroke. For me, look, putting is something that you can be as good as anyone out there. Tiger Woods is certainly stronger than me. He's bigger. He is dynamically built differently to swing his body and move his body faster, which I understand. So he's got that upper hand. But putting, it's a level playing field. As long as you work on those fields, you don't need the power. So anyone can be as good as anyone else, from a junior to an adult to a senior to a woman to anything. It doesn't matter. You can just get that putter moving in the way you want, so straight back, straight through, or curve to curve. You'll start the ball where you need it to go. So look, technique, keep your knees still. That's a good way of thinking about trying to control the lines of your putter. Knees nice and still. As soon as your hips and knees start twisting, that putter will move as well. But just get up against a brick wall, practice getting that putter moving along a straight line. 10 minutes each day, you'll be amazed at the difference that makes. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope this helps. Post comments, let me know. We'll see you all soon.